Hi everybody, how are we all doing today? Okay, I'm going to talk to you about everyday bravery. What's everyday bravery? What a great question. When we think about bravery, what are some things that we think about? When we think about the word brave, what are some ideas that pop into your head? Sorry? Okay, standing up to a bully, yes, absolutely. Courage, yes. Braveheart? Like, okay, yeah. Okay. Standing up on this stage right here, yeah. You have to be incredibly brave. Just talk in front of your peers like this. Like, my heart is racing right now. And I'm a theater student, and that doesn't happen, but it's happening right now. Yes, these are some great things, and I want you to keep that in your head, what these things were that you thought of when I said, what do you think of when you think of bravery? This picture here is very grainy, and I apologize for that. But this is my wonderful team with all the King's Men. So in my first year at Brock, as it was said, I co-founded my own theater company. In my first year, I was in a performance called Stones Unturned by a friend of mine, Sammy Cole. And Sammy, she's super cool. And the show isn't the biggest part. The part is all of these people that I met. Being a first-year student, even in the drama department where everybody is so close, you kind of go, I've just come out of high school and now I'm at a university, and how do I universify? You do it by getting involved, and that's what I did. I got involved, and I was in this show, and I met these excellent, awesome, look at them all, they're so cool, look at them. So we started this company together, and we've been doing amazing things, and we're devising works, and we're performing works. Next year we're doing Shakespeare. What? Who does Shakespeare? We do, because we're crazy. These people are awesome. I was in a course with a lot of these people, and it's a drama in education course. Hey, drama in ed, look at that. For this course, we had to develop an entire unit of drama for a drama class of our choosing. So we chose grade 11 drama. I love grade 11 drama because it's the time when you get to explore the nitty-gritty stuff. Grade 9 and 10 is all for learning the basics of tableau, which I hate tableau. Tableau and mime and monologue work and stuff. But grade 11 is where you start to explore scene work, and you start to work with real issues in the world. You start to work with story drama. Story drama is my favorite type of drama. And you're all going, Ian, what's story drama? We're not all theater majors. That's okay. I'm going to tell you. Story drama is when you take a storybook, it can just be one word from the storybook, and you develop a world around that story, and you explore that world. Sorry, am I talking really fast? I feel like, okay, sorry, I'll slow down. I get really excited, and then I start talking really fast, and so keep me on time, please, because Anika, please, on that. Okay, excellent. Story drama, and you explore this world with your peers, and you get close with your peers, and that all starts in grade 11 drama, and it's excellent and it's awesome. So we said, let's do grade 11 drama, and what are we going to talk about? Mental health is really big right now. Maybe we should talk about mental health. Transgenderism is really big right now, and a lot of grade 11s don't know what it means to be transitioning. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the LGBTQ plus community, larger than just transgender individuals. And then we started thinking, okay, what do all of these things have in common? Bravery. You have to be brave to go through these things, to deal with these things every day, not to deal with them, to treat them like hurdles. You have to push through an obstacle, and it might be very tough, and you may not get through, but you can jump over a hurdle. You can make that hurdle, I'm going to swear and I apologize, you can make that hurdle your bitch. You can jump right over that thing and move on to the next one. And after you've jumped over that hurdle, you are stronger for doing it, and you are ever more brave. Ever more? Okay. So when we start thinking about acts of bravery, the first thing that came to our mind when we were thinking about them are people like firefighters and police officers and military personnel, the people who are on the front lines of all of these dangerous things. Clark Kent, super brave because he's Superman. So we start thinking about all of these things, and then we kind of went, okay, let's go back to where we started, which was over here, which was mental health and transitioning and LGBTQ and that kind of thing. And then we thought, wait a minute, everyday bravery. what does it mean to be everyday brave? Everyday bravery are the simple acts, maybe mundane. Other people might think of them as mundane acts, that you have to be incredibly brave to do. Getting up in the morning, waking up, getting out of bed, putting on your clothes, going back to make the bed, showering, but before you put on your clothes. Or maybe, hey, you can be really brave and shower with your clothes on. These are all incredibly brave things that people have to do every day of their lives. They have to work through these things. They have to be brave to get through the day. So then we started thinking, okay, well, how are we going to explore this everyday bravery? Oh, we like story drama. Let's find a story that works with everyday bravery. I've popped out a little bit and I put a video in here that is a little bit long. You're going to watch this video and look for bravery throughout the video. It's called The Bravest Knight Who Ever Lived. It's a story by Daniel Erico, and he's an excellent author, and this is probably my newest favorite book ever because it's awesome. Are there speakers? Do we have speakers?
Once upon a time, inside a tree in Niagara. Once upon a time, inside a kingdom like your own, there lived a knight named Cedric, the bravest ever known. He grew up poor and honest on a humble pumpkin farm. He treated people well and kind, and never did them harm. For breakfast he had pumpkins, and for dinner pumpkin stew. I'd like to say dessert was not, but it was pumpkin too. He did as he was told. His parents couldn't ask for more, but living on a pumpkin farm could sometimes be a bore. He liked to play pretend, and all his friends would join in too. They met inside a wooden castle, plotting what to do. Before they started playing, he would dress for every quest. Pumpkin armor on his head, his arms, and on his chest. His favorite game was Bravest Knight, since he would always win. They'd pick a scary challenge, and young Cedric would begin. Walk the haunted castle, poke a bear, or catch a bat? My lumpy pumpkin mattress, Cedric said, is worse than that. For conquering each task and for the hardships he had braved, he'd be offered a rose from the princess that he saved. You saved her, you have done it, cheered the most excited friends. But always he would just reply, that isn't how it ends. One day, as he was scouting, hiding high upon a tree, looking for a day to save, as far as he could see, a fancy carriage rolled up slowly, stopping just below. It looked as if the driver didn't know which way to go. Then suddenly a man approached, disguised with cloak and hood, and Cedric quickly saw he wasn't up to any good. "Give me all your gold," the man demanded with a shout, and climbed inside the carriage to find gold to carry out. The driver ran away and left the carriage to the thief, and Cedric peered above him from behind an autumn leaf. "Leave his things," he shouted as he dropped an acorn shell. It landed on the carriage roof and rang it like a bell. "Who's there?" the robber asked with quite a tremble in his voice. "A dozen archers, up in trees. Leave now, you have no choice." Cedric shook the tree and 50 acorns tumbled down, pounding on the roof till all the forest heard the sound. The robber ran away, awash with shame and awful fright, and to that day young Cedric never saw a greater sight. The gold inside belonged to a most noble famous knight, and in return he taught young Cedric how to ride and fight. "To be a knight," he lectured Cedric, "takes a special sort. It isn't always jousting and attending royal court. You must protect the weak, be always true, be always strong, and more than any other, you must see the right from wrong." "But," Cedric protested, "I'm just a pumpkin farmer." "Now you are a squire," said the knight. "Go get my armor." For years the knight taught Cedric how to battle, how to ride. Wherever he would go, his squire followed by his side. And then one day the knight retired, hanging up his steel. He brought his squire out to court, and asked that he would kneel.
"I dub you now Sir Cedric. You're a true and worthy knight. You've courage in your bones," he said. "Now go and prove me right."
So off he set to find his path with nothing but his horse. Well, also packed a piece of peppered pumpkin pie, of course. Somewhere on the road between the here before the there, he came upon a blackened castle, desolate and bare. The sign read, "Dragon Castle, all you hero knights beware. Fiery dragon breath awaits, continue if you dare." No words could turn his courage. Cedric knew that he'd be fine. "I'd rather face a dragon than be beaten by a sign." He took his armor off so he could swim the murky moat. "Just my luck," he mumbled. "I forgot to pack a boat." No guards or townsfolk greeted him, strolling through the gate. Just another sign that read, "Go back, it's not too late." In the yard he noticed rows of pumpkins in a patch. His families weren't as large, but they were otherwise a match. He donned his pumpkin armor, as he'd done when he was young. Often we can find the answers back where we've begun. Then suddenly Sir Cedric heard a loud, tremendous roar. A dragon flew right for him, crashing through the tower door. He breathed his fire breath, and Cedric thought that he was toasted. But Cedric had been saved. Instead, his armor had been roasted. He threw it off, and soon the dragon ate it like a feast. "Roasted pumpkin," Cedric yelled, a favorite of the beast. As the dragon chewed, Sir Cedric gathered pumpkin shells and filled them up with water from the dragon castle wells. Now dragons never diet, so he was hungry for some more. So Cedric threw him pumpkins by the two, then by the four. Cedric had a plan the munching dragon did not know, for in the dragon's stomach a small pool began to grow. So when he turned to Cedric with a fire-breathing shout, he found that all the fire in his belly had gone out. The dragon flew away, for it was clear that he'd been bested. Sir Cedric had been braver and done better than the rest did. A prince and princess ran outside to thank their fearless knight.
"That dragon took us," said the prince, "but now we'll be all right."
So Cedric and the siblings made the lengthy journey back. The prince and Cedric walked along and shared a pumpkin snack. They talked about their homes and of their favorite games to play. The two of them grew close along the long and windy way. After weeks they reached the town of New St. Barberton. A great parade to welcome them was thrown by everyone. The king and queen came out and gave their children royal hugs. They gave Sir Cedric gold and silk and much too fancy rugs. Cedric just refused, no matter how they tried and tried, but then the princess said that she would like to be his bride. "Princess, you are kind, and I am glad that we are friends. But now I must be brave and say, that isn't how it ends. There's someone else I love, and I believe we're meant to be. I'd like to wed the prince if he does feel the same for me." The prince was overjoyed, and yet the king a bit confused. At first he didn't understand. At first he had refused. But as he saw their faces, in his heart the truth was clear. His son was meant to find his knight. He needn't doubt or fear. They threw a royal wedding like you've never seen before. Pumpkins, trumpets, rows of cakes, and doves were set to soar. And Cedric took a breath and told himself he'd be all right. For everyone gets nervous, even he, the bravest knight. A celebration roared with all their family and their friends, and Cedric knew, my fairy tale, this is how it ends.
The point of this book is it's okay to stand up for what you want to do. For being everyday brave, for getting up in the morning, for putting your clothes on, for going outside and interacting with people that you're scared to interact with because you have social anxiety. It teaches kids that everyday braveness is an important part of life, and that everyday braveness is a part of everyday life. This is a view that I looked at for 5 weeks of my life in the summer. In the professional world, I teach teachers how to teach the Holocaust to elementary school children, which I kind of see faces going, what? You teach elementary school kids about the most terrible thing in human history? Yeah, I do. But that's because I do it appropriately. I don't just say, 6 million people died. I teach kids about being brave and standing up, and teach them through the experiences of children who are the same age as them. And throughout my life, I've been granted many, many opportunities. One of them was to go to Israel and teach in Israel for 2 weeks. And after I was done teaching at the International School for Holocaust Studies in Jerusalem, the director of education there came up to me and said, hey, do you want to stay for another 3 weeks? And you can attend our graduate program here for the 3 weeks. And I went, I'm an undergraduate student, I don't have a degree. And they said, we know, we want you to stay, so you're going to stay. So I said, okay, sure, I'll stay. So I spent 5 weeks of the summer in Israel, and I got to see this every day looking out of my classroom, which was super cool. And wow, Brock is beautiful, but come on, it's Jerusalem. Now, I went to Israel 4 days after my grand passed away. For 7 months, my grand had been battling cancer. And she died 4 days before I left for Israel. I didn't have time to grieve because I only had 4 days and then I was leaving. And looking back on it, I don't regret not being able to grieve because this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was going to Israel for free for 5 weeks. I had to do it, and I know that she would have wanted me to do it. And so I did it. But I went to Israel at the same time as the Israel-Gaza conflict. Literally the day that I got to Israel, the war started. And a week after I got back to Canada, it ended, in the North American context, we stopped hearing about it. So while a lot of the attacks were up here in Haifa and even into Tel Aviv, I was in Jerusalem, which is more like in the, it's in the east, opposed to the north where a lot of the attacks were going on. So we had only really heard about them, and I hadn't really seen anything, which I'm grateful for. But I want to take a moment to discuss a narrative. If you're comfortable, I'd like you to close your eyes. If not, that's okay. Just listen all the same. It's a hot summer day in July. It's probably 50 degrees outside. You are sitting in the hotel lobby. You're drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. Everything it's sort of business as usual. Children are walking down the street. They're playing soccer on the side, football as they call it, on the sidewalk. There's a park across the street, so everybody's in the park. There's a mother with her carriage. She's walking down the sidewalk with a baby in the carriage. And all of a sudden you hear, bang! Bang! And then you hear, that's an air raid going on, by the way. You're hearing an air raid siren because there are bombs dropping from the sky onto the ground where you are. You can open your eyes now. This is what I experienced. About once every week that I was there, we went through an air raid process. It might not have necessarily been in Jerusalem where we were, but it was going on. And there were a lot of people in these places like Haifa and Tel Aviv who were experiencing it a lot more than I was. At the time, I was 20 years old, so I'm this 20-year-old Canadian kid sitting in a cafe in Jerusalem, or in the hotel in Jerusalem. And I'm hearing an air raid go off for the first time. I've only ever heard about them in grade 10 history. I've never actually experienced one. And now I have experienced one. And while thoughts were going through my head, like, oh my gosh, am I going to make it home today? Am I going to make it home after these 5 weeks? What's going to happen to me? These little kids who were playing soccer, and this mom who was bringing her carriage down the street, simply walked into the nearest building, and they waited for the air raid siren to be off. And I think that was the most humbling experience I've ever had in my entire life. Because while I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, how am I going to survive this for 5 weeks? These individuals, these children, are living here. They're living through this. At the age of 5 years old, when you should be worried about playing soccer with your friends and going outside, you're instead worrying about being able to wake up in the morning. Incredibly, incredibly brave people. Now, this is a more extreme act of bravery. Let's talk about everyday bravery that's a little closer to home. After I returned from Israel, I had about a week, and then I had to come here for dawn training for the resident staff. During training, there was a night where I was sitting on the tennis court with a fellow staff member. We were just having a chat. It was really warm, by the way, so like it was cold outside, but the tennis court was taking it all. I don't have science. So we were sitting on the tennis court and we were just having a chat. And for the first time since I had come back from Israel, I heard a plane. I was lying down on the tennis court, we were just talking, and I heard a plane overhead. And I shot up quicker than I've ever shot up in my life. My heart started racing. I began to sweat. It was weird. I realized I was reliving Israel. Every time you heard a plane in Israel, not every time, I shouldn't generalize like that. Most of the time that you heard a plane in Israel, it was followed by the sound of an air raid siren. I was expecting to hear an air raid siren. And instead I heard a voice beside me say, "Iain, are you okay?" I had that support system which allowed me to be brave. I didn't have to run inside the nearest fortified building or find a bomb shelter. I could stay on that tennis court and watch the plane go overhead without having to be worried about it, because we live in this great country where we don't have these sorts of things yet. My grand passed away. I went to Israel. I got back, suffered from like a minuscule, not minuscule, but like a minor form of post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, I'm starting the year. I'm a Don. I'm having lots of fun. I've met incredibly new people. I've met incredibly wonderful people that are now my new friends, and they will be forever and ever. And now I'm at this point in my life where all of these previous things are sort of hitting me all at once. All of a sudden, I don't want to get up out of bed in the morning. I just want to lie there. All of a sudden, my schoolwork isn't getting done because I can't focus on it. I can't get it done. I don't have the motivation or the energy to do it. I'm quite a self-aware person, so when all of this was going on, I sort of went, okay, something's up. I went to the clinic here, student house, like the Harrison, whatever, the student house services clinic. I went there, and I explained what was going on, and I explained the story that I'm telling all of you, and the doctor said, yeah, you're suffering with depression, you have depression. And I went, holy crap, I have depression, what do I do? I don't know what to do, I've never had depression. What does this mean? All of these thoughts were going through my head. Instead of wanting to jump and take medication to help me with the depression, I wanted to go for a more naturalistic sort of process in terms of dealing with it. So I found this excellent support system that are my friends, that are the RLS, etc. And I can talk to these people about this sort of thing. And I can wake up in the morning and I can take a deep breath and I can say, today I'm going to be brave. And today I'm going to live through this. And today I'm going to get up out of bed and I'm going to say hi to people and I'm going to talk to people and I'm going to be myself. That is an act of everyday bravery. And I'm not up here trying to say, oh my gosh, I'm braver than you are. No, you all have the power to be everyday brave. You just have to determine what it means for you to be everyday brave. For me, it means waking up in the morning and living with depression. For you, it might mean waking up in the morning and going for a swim in a bathing suit when you're conscious about your what do you call it, image, body image. Or it might mean picking up a steak knife to cut your steak because you've had a bad experience with a knife. Maybe you cut your finger. It might mean taking a razor blade to your face to shave your face, or your legs, when you've previously tried to take your life. This picture, I like this. I took this picture. These are the candles that people have lit in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the church where Jesus Christ has got his tomb, or so the Catholic Church says. Sorry. These are the candles that people have lit to pay their respects to Jesus and Mary, etc., etc. And when I took this picture, when I got home, I looked at this picture and I went, wow, this is really cool. And then when I started talking about everyday bravery and living by an everyday brave philosophy, I took this picture to mean something more. Over the summer, Robin Williams, the great, he passed away. And Robin Williams once said, everyone, something along, I apologize, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but he said something along the lines of, everybody has a spark of madness, you mustn't lose it. And I believe that everybody, as a theater major, I have a spark of madness and I use it to my fullest potential, and I believe that everybody has a spark of madness, but I also believe everybody has a spark of bravery. And like a candle, you need to keep that spark lit. There are going to be things in your life, hurdles, obstacles. We don't like obstacles, we prefer hurdles. People who are going to try and be the wind in your candle in the wind. And they're going to try to blow that candle out. But as that candle with your spark of bravery, you need to stay lit. You need to be everyday brave. You need to wake up in the morning and say, yes, I'm going to be brave today. Even if that means putting a smile on your face when you really, really don't want to. If you put that smile on your face, you are brave. You don't have to be a firefighter or a police officer or a public official or a lawyer to be brave. You just have to be yourself. Now, sometimes we can take our candles and we can turn them into flames. And we can use this fire to spark our passion and to help other people light their sparks of bravery, so that they know that just by being them today, you are brave. There's a saying that we used in my elementary school, be the best you can be. At the school where I do my placement, that's their motto as well, be the best that you can be. I'm a finance student, by the way, so I don't like this phrase, I don't like this saying. Because sometimes we can't be the best that we can be. We can't live up to our own standards that we set for ourselves, because sometimes we forget to be everyday brave. So I want to take this phrase, be the best you can be, and change it into something radically different by adding a word. Be the best that you can be today. Your today best might not be your everyday best, but that's okay because you are brave by being you. Be the best that you can be today. Take your candle, make it into a fire. Inside each of us is a spark. It is up to us to decide whether that spark will light a candle or ignite a fire. Thank you very much.